All right. Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you. Thank you. Afternoon? No, it's morning. And welcome to the next era of portable sanitation. So for decades, this industry has been built on hard work, great equipment, and more recently, great software. When those two things are disconnected, you are forced to rely on assumptions. Assumptions about the status of your equipment out in the field, assumptions about your routes, and assumptions about the actual customer experience that you're delivering. And so today we're here to talk about what happens when that changes.
So Satellite and ServiceCore are coming together to combine the worlds of equipment and software. For years, Satellite's been building better, stronger, more reliable equipment. But no matter how good the equipment is, you can't make better decisions if you don't know the status of that equipment once it leaves your yard. So when you can finally see what's happening in the field, you can make better decisions. You can make faster decisions. And once those decisions compound upon each other, one after another, that's when real scale happens. If you're like many companies in this room, both of us included, you're no stranger to growth. You know what it feels like to grow, but do you know what it feels like to scale? You see, growth brings more revenue. We all know that. But it also brings more expense. It brings more people, it brings more labor, it brings more trucks, it brings more overhead, more, and more. And at the end of the day, after all that growth, a lot of us are left wondering where all that incremental profit went. Sometimes you're left asking yourself, why am I working so hard? What am I chasing at the end of this rainbow? And how do I grow more profitably? Well, you do it by becoming more efficient. You do it by scaling. Because when you scale, you're able to grow revenue without an incremental increase in all of those overheads. You generate more with the same or even less inputs.
Okay, so I want you to raise your hand if you're an operator in this room and you've ever experienced one of these problems. Don't be shy. Let's go for 100%. All right. You've got technicians out in the field driving around looking for units that were moved yesterday. You're finding out about problems only after your customers are calling in angry. You have units out on the job site that are getting overused only for the blame to come back on you. And this is a tax that you guys are paying every day. This is a tax that this industry is paying every day. And it's become so common that we've almost learned to live with it. This is showing up in your business as wasted expense, missed revenue, frustrated customers, and probably sometimes this feeling that you're reacting instead of running ahead.
Now, imagine owning a portable toilet fleet that could talk to you. This little guy would say, hey, I'm getting full, come service me. This guy, he'd say, hey, I just tipped over, I need help now. And this guy would say, I'm not where you left me, somebody moved me, I'm over here now, this is where I am. Actually, help me, Jonah.
Okay.
Oh! So, think about the impact that that would have, having real-time visibility of your units in the yard that could talk to you. Think about the impact on your operations. Your dispatcher would know before the driver even arrived on site the status of every single one of those units. The routes could be optimized even before the day started. Now think about this one. Think about if you knew when that truck left the yard exactly how many gallons it would be pumping on that route for the number of toilets that it was scheduled for. And if something changed midday, you could reroute that entire route in real time, saving time, labor, and money every single day. You know what this allows you to do? you can maximize the single greatest asset that your portable rental company has. This guy, your service technician. Think about that.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
So again, think about the impact that real-time visibility would have on that operation of yours. Maybe you could start running your business instead of it running you.
So that's the difference between reacting and operating. And I think for a long time this felt out of reach, not because operators aren't capable, but because the technology didn't exist. And so John and I are very excited to introduce to you Satellite Sense fully integrated with ServiceCore. Satellite Sense brings sensors to give you real-time visibility onto what's going on with your equipment out in the field. And ServiceCore converts that real-time visibility into action. Action that you can take to grow your revenue, action that you can take to make your routes more efficient, and action that you can take to provide a level of proactive customer service that just wasn't possible before in this industry.
So what you're going to see today isn't just a PowerPoint presentation. This is real technology that's being used out in the field right now. And you're going to hear from an operator that's going to tell you the impact that it's had on his business. You're going to see technology that's fully integrated with the leading software in our industry that allows your portable toilets to proactively talk to you. In almost real time, they'll tell you where they are and if they've been moved, how full they are, how many times they've been used, positive service confirmation, and much more. So this doesn't just help you grow, it helps you scale. For the past 10 years, Satellite's been developing what internally we call the smart toilet. But today, we're unveiling a key component to that called Satellite Sense. And through our partnership with ServiceCore, we're delivering a fully integrated hardware solution. So this is the Satellite Sense box. And you can come by and see it in our booth and what it looks like inside a unit. It's got a tank-level ultrasonic sensor, an accelerometer that senses usage and tip over, a temperature gauge, a multi-year battery, a cellular transmitter with satellite capability, a chip with a cache that backs up in case both cellular and satellite go down, and then it re-uploads when it comes back onto online. It's waterproof. It can be installed on any unit, and it comes pre-configured, ready to work with ServiceCore. You install it in your unit, enter the serial number in ServiceCore, and it pops up.
And so the magic is when these two things are really connected. ServiceCore takes this valuable data that you're getting from these devices and connects it to the place where you're actually running your business, the place where you're building real routes, building real invoices, actually managing your technicians, your customer, and your sites. So the platform is going to give you alerts in real time about issues that are happening in the field. It's going to allow you to upsell more units and services, and it's going to automatically update your routes based off of the real-time location of the units and this information that we're pulling in from the sensors. So let me show you how it works.
This is real data based on real life.
This is not real data.
I mean, but this is...
Yes. Okay, so this is Satellite Sense fully integrated with ServiceCore. I'm going to walk you through a few use cases. But first, here is our landing page. So what you're looking at here is a map. This is all of my rentals that I have going on in the Western Territory in Denver. Each one of these pins is a rental. But you'll notice that some of these pins are different. These are pins where we have Satellite Sense enabled in the field. And it's going to start to pull in information and give us alerts and help my dispatcher, help my office manager figure out where are the places I need to look and take some action. So I'm going to walk you through 3 scenarios. The first is Pine Construction. And sorry if this is small, put on your glasses here. Pine Construction, I've got 5 units out on site, and I'm getting some alerts here. All 5 of these units are showing high volume. So I need to click in and figure out what's going on here. Okay, so welcome to Pine Construction. This is a new neighborhood that's going up, new home construction site. you can see I've got 5 units placed around this larger job site where all of these homes are going up. And I'm starting to get alert that these units are high volume. So you can see here I've got a tank that's 91% full. I've got a tank that's 88% full. But really all of the units on this job site are getting overused, and we've got an issue. So let's click into one of these devices and get a little bit more information. So this is my device page here, and it's telling me a few things. The first thing it's telling me is how full on a percentage basis is the current volume of the tank, the number of uses since the last service, and then tying this together with my operational data that's inside the platform, my service history, my customer, my site information. And so the last service was yesterday, the next service is not for a couple more days. But we can see here on this graph, this is the usage and the volume data. So I'm looking at last week here, I can see that the tank got almost 95% full, and then it drops down to 10%. So boom, that's my service confirmation right there. Without having to talk to my technician, without having to look at any pictures, I can see that the tank went from basically full to basically empty, so there's my service confirmation. But the problem comes later in the week here. So each day you can see the tank filling up and up, and today we're at about 80% full, but my next service isn't for another 3 or 4 days. So we know that we've got an issue here. And you guys know how some of these site managers can be. They don't want to buy enough units. But now, armed with this data, I'm going to be able to call this customer and say, hey, look, you've got 5 units out on site. All of these are almost at max capacity. The next service isn't for another couple of days since you purchased once a week service frequency. And so we want to get out here and we want to solve this problem for you, and we want to drop another unit. So you see here that the platform is identifying this upsell opportunity. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get in, I'm going to create a job. This is a new job creation to drop 1 more toilet at this customer site. So I'm going to fill that out. It's telling me I'm adding a unit to Pine Construction. Do I want to schedule the job and create the invoice? Yes, I do. All right, and now we've got, instead of 5 units, 6 units out on site. Here's my indicator for this new unit that we've dropped, and I can see the placement here. So we've done a few things. We've made ourselves some extra money. We've solved the problem for a customer before they knew it existed, and we provide this level of proactive customer service that just wouldn't have been possible before.
And backed it up with real data that your customer can't argue with.
That's exactly right. Okay, let's go to the Breckenridge Wine Festival. It's probably where we all wish we were today. This is my special event. I've got 12 units out on site. Not all 12 units have issues, but a couple of them do, and so I want to key in here. So I've got 3 banks of 4 toilets here. And you can see 2 of these banks are fine, but one of these banks is getting hit really hard. So maybe we have an issue with the flow of the event or something like that. But the problem is 2 of these units are at max capacity right now. This is a luxury event. This is a special event. These units are completely full, and we've got an issue. The customer purchased every other day service. So you can see last service was yesterday. My next service isn't for tomorrow, but I can see these toilets are full. And so we got to get in here and solve this problem. The platform is identifying here, hey, we've got high usage. We need to go in and fix this. So what I'm doing here is now I'm scheduling another job to increase the service frequency to go out and take care of these toilets that are full right now. So the service for the unit is set right now to every other day. Do we want to move all future services to once a day? Yes, we do. And now you can see the last service date changed from February 16th. The next service is actually today. And we're getting in and we're solving this problem for the customer. So again, we've made more money, we've solved the problem for the customer. And particularly in this use case, I think it's interesting because when this contract comes out to bid next year, or they're looking to go to the renewal, you're going to be able to talk to the event manager and say, this is exactly what happened last year. Here's how many toilets you had, here's where they were, here's how many times they got used, here's the service frequency that you purchased. For next year, let's have a strategic conversation around the number of toilets you have, where they need to be, and what the service frequency is. That is the level of information and customer service that just nobody else is going to be able to provide. And that's the kind of information and strategic conversation that wins bids. All right, so now we are going from the fancy wine festival to an oil field. We've got total oil here, 5 units out on site, and I'm getting these alerts. All 5 of these units have been relocated. So I'm in total oil here. This is a 100 square mile oil field. You can see my 5 units distributed out. These are trailer mounted units. Every day, the customer is moving these units around. My technician's showing up on site. They're spending 30 minutes, they're spending an hour driving around and around looking for these units because the customer has moved them. Well, with Satellite Sense enabled, we're going to be getting real-time GPS pings on the location of these units. And the beauty here is there's not really much that you have to do. But if I get into this unit, I can see here that I'm getting all of these alerts each time the unit is relocated. I can see where it came from, where it went, and I've got this map with the breadcrumbs here. So in the background, everything is getting updated in the system, the location of the information, and the job here is to reduce the time that the service tech is spending out on site. And so all of that's getting updated, but let me just bring you into the view. So this is what your service technician is going to see. When they show up on site, instead of driving around blind, they're getting a map where they can see the precise location of every unit, even if it was moved by the customer yesterday, even if it was moved by the customer 3 hours ago. When your tech shows up on site, he is going to be able to see where the units are and drive right to them to complete the service. All right, so those are the couple of use cases seeing ServiceCore Satellite Sense in action.
All right. Sound interesting? Well, I'm telling you, we did not build it just to be interesting. We built it to pay for itself. So think about saving 1 or 2 driver hours driving around looking for a unit. Pays for itself. Upselling 1 more unit at a special event pays for itself. Service frequency. Upselling a service frequency pays for itself. Any one of these upsells, time savings, efficiency gains happens once or twice over the lifetime that you own the unit, pays for the investment, just like that. The ROI is almost immediate.
Yeah, so we built this thing with one thing in mind, and that is making you all more money. This is not about data for the sake of data. This is not a kitschy bell and whistle. The teams at Satellite and ServiceCore came together and said, what is this product offering and how can we design it in a way to take cost out of your business and to add revenue into your business? And so we would like to invite up Derek Phillips to the stage, Chief Operating Officer of JOTS Rentals. Yeah.
So we can talk until we're blue in the face, but Derek is going to tell you real world about what it's like using these for the last couple months.
Really appreciate your photo choice there. That's great. That's great.
We upgraded it from a tiny blurry one to a more of an action shot.
Ooh, we'll talk later.
Okay. Okay, so Derek, for the people in the room who don't know JOTS, can you give us a quick overview of your operation?
Yeah, so JOTS Rentals is a family-owned portable sanitation company that covers about 23,000 square miles of Northeast Texas. We provide portable restrooms, restroom trailers, roll-off dumpsters, just really try to be the solution provider for our customers.
So why did you help jump on board to pilot this program, and what problems were you looking to solve?
Yeah, so it's really funny because your earlier presentation hit on a lot of the things that I thought about when we initially talked about this, and really it was inefficiencies that have built up over time, or that's the way we've always done it. In this case, having real data helps us to plan for future events, plan for different job sites and strategic deployments along that line.
So tell us about the setup of the pilot. Like what use cases were you looking to test? What kind of units did you put these devices on, and how did you deploy them out into the field?
Yeah, sure. So we picked a broad range of asset types, mainly some of the larger construction units that go out to distribution centers, data centers, things like that, where we're going to have 15 to 40 restrooms on site, to trailer units, which was a big thing for me. I'm sure anybody that uses a trailer-mounted unit knows that 30 minutes, hour, whatever it is, of just not knowing where that is and how to fit that into your route for the day it's just wasted time and money. And also for special events, one in particular is coming up. It's small on the scale that some of you guys use, but it's about 106 standard event restrooms, a couple of trailers, things like that. We wanted to see that in our deployment tactic and our service tactic for that, to know, is this the most efficient place to put these? Are these being overused? Can we move some of these over here to alleviate some of that usage? So.
Did you have, or when was a moment that it went from this is interesting to, damn, this could really changed my business.
There wasn't one moment in particular, but when I saw the real data populate in ServiceCore, the one that we used, and saw the way that we could get real-time information on either location or usage statistics, that's where it really, it proved itself out there. And since then, we've used that for a couple of different scenarios to exactly what you were saying, increase service frequency to address that, the problem customer. Oh.
Yeah.
We love them all. But to address that one customer who doesn't quite understand that, no, you have 50 people on site, you have 5 restrooms, which should be okay, but now you're doing 2 shifts with 100, and we need to do additional service to make sure that these guys are taken care of.
Yeah. So you talked about the special event scenario. Can you talk a little bit about what that conversation looks like with the event manager before and after? What kind of information do they want? Do they expect? Is this even something that they think about? And like, how does this change the conversation, if at all?
So as everybody in this room probably knows, that portable restrooms seem to be one of the last things they think about. It's something that'll take care of itself. There's somebody that handles that. We've learned the hard way over the years of deploying a certain strategy on a particular event and then realizing later that none of these were used. Everybody's screaming at us over here because of these, being overused. And so we've had to use that, retroactively to go back and say, we know what we're talking about. We need you to deploy these the way that we suggest here. And now I can show you. Now I can show you that this particular bank of units over here had 3 times the number of uses that these did over here. And so we can be a little more strategic in planning the next event.
Yeah, that makes sense. And for the scenario that you talked about with the trailer-mounted units, for these types of jobs, they can be big. You get a lot of units out on site, but there's a big increased expense. It might take somebody an entire day out there to go and find and service 20, 30 units. Do you price that into the job, or is that just the kind of thing where it's like, okay, I know I'm going to have a little bit lower margins here, and I'm going to accept that? And how does this real-time location data, you think, play into the future of pricing and that conversation?
That's actually pretty interesting, because in the past you've just tried to set your pricing to account for that in advance, and you don't really know how it affects everything overall until you've done that job. This, in the trailer-mounted unit, for us in particular, which is maybe a little bit different from some, we have 5 different branches across Northeast Texas, and you don't always know where that unit is going to be within your entire territory. But now, when it does move to a different service area, so maybe my Tyler or my Kemp branch covers that area, instead of trying to figure out where they are, trying to contact a customer, trying to figure out where it's been moved to today, where it'll be tomorrow, I can pull up that real-time location data, and I can see that my driver in Longview is not going to be the person to drive 130 miles to service this unit, but I have a guy in Kemp right now who is 2 miles away from this on his route today. So saving the time that takes just to figure it out on a dispatcher side, you're just using the who's near here, I don't know what you call the feature, honestly, but who's my closest tech in ServiceCore, just helps us put that on the route, and it's, you don't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
How would you, now we've done a limited rollout and test with you, but how would you speak to this affecting your company as far as service, quality, revenue, efficiency, and growth, if you were to implement this in your whole fleet?
That's a really good question. There's so many different use cases for it, and you speak to scale and you speak to things like that, and really you can use it in different applications. You can go fleet-wide. You can go with just your large special events, just your mobile units, just things like that. Whatever that combination is that works best for somebody is great. But for us, really, it's, I don't know the best way to say it. It's, we see so many opportunities with this, and in being a little more proactive with how we do everything going forward, that really, if I were to implement this, throughout my entire fleet, I'm just going to be a lot more efficient, and that's to me, chasing inefficiencies, you know, in an operations role is really the biggest headache that I have. And so if this can alleviate some of that, I'm all for it.
So I think right now, I mean, part of the scenarios that we looked at is you have somebody who's on once a week service and it's not enough, right? Like the conditions are deteriorating at the site, the tank is filling up. And this is, you know, industry standard. You have a unit, it gets serviced once a week. If you have this data in a world where you can see that that's not enough, or something particular happened at the park or at the job site that day and the toilet is filled way up, you're not getting out there for the next couple of days for service. Is this something that you guys and you think the customer might be willing to change their mindset around versus like, hey, we're just gonna keep your toilets clean and we'll charge you for that instead of once a week service at this fixed time?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of those things to where, you know, my reputation's on the line as a company. And so even if it is overuse, even if it is, you know, a tipped over unit, something that's not within my control, I don't have to rely, excuse me, I don't have to rely on, you know, my tech that's in the field to remember every single issue with overuse or every other scenario that they run into over whether they service 40 or 80 units in a day. I can't expect them to remember that. But when I have these actual data points that are not my face, it's really distracting. But when I have these actual data points, I can go and be that solution provider and say, you know, I know that this particular unit, I know that this particular project is experiencing overuse here. Here's how we can alleviate that. And there's no selling needed at that point. It's just, this is, you know, incontrovertible information, data of real-time situation here.
Yeah. So I know you're kind of at the bleeding edge of this project, but what advice would you have for other operators in the room or elsewhere that are thinking about making this decision and thinking about making this investment?
Yeah, I mean, it's great for so many different parts of your business that you don't have to worry about that implementation cost right at first. You can slowly roll this out. You can add it to one particular division, whether it's oil and gas or your clean energy sector division, whether it's your disaster response, whatever it is, it fits in so many roles. And when you have large events, when you have, you know, these varied customers that all have the same need, you can make the argument that it, you know, as you mentioned, the ROI is right there. That additional service at one time, it's done. You know, and then from there on, it's just increasing margin going forward.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you so much for sharing your experience, and thank you so much for helping us build this product.
Sure, I appreciate it. Enjoyed it. I do need one more thing from y'all so I can prove to everybody I was here. So if y'all want to come join me. All right, here we go.
Say Satellite Sense. Okay. Thanks, Derek.
All right. So this is how the next era of portable sanitation gets built. Not through one-off improvements, one-off tools, isolated improvements, but through integrated systems that actually work and speak together to improve your business. So now imagine operating in a market where your competitors have this information and these systems, and you don't. So this is where technology is headed. I mean, technology is on us in an industry that really hasn't seen significant implementation of technology like this almost since its inception. So I strongly encourage everybody here to take a hard look at what's coming, start preparing your thinking, start preparing your organization's thinking on what's coming next. Early access to this technology starts today. We're taking pre-orders at both the Satellite and the ServiceCore booths. You can come up, sign up, see a live demo. You can sign up for the pre-orders, and we'll get you on the list as we start rolling this out later in late spring, early summer. So this is how the next era of portable sanitation in our industry gets built. And for the first time, it's our hope that your equipment can actually work as hard as you do. So we will see you at our booth.
Thank you very much.